Hello everyone, I'm going to do that very typical YouTuber thing where I answer frequently asked questions in video format, both to get some views, but also to go ahead and direct people to when they start asking obnoxious frequently asked questions in my Twitch chat. Go ahead and go right through these. I got like 30 questions that some will be answered very shortly, some will have more detailed answers. You get the whole point. That's what frequently asked questions do. Let's get into it. Number 1. How did you get into StarCraft 2? Well, I played StarCraft 1 on N64 with my brothers, and then StarCraft 2 was released, and my brother was like, "You gonna buy it?" And I was like, "I don't know." I ended up buying it, ended up getting really into it, watched a bunch of YouTube, wanted to beat my brother, and then continued getting into it, and it just kind of happened. Number 2. What rank are you? Well, I'm Masters 2 in Terran. The highest I ever got was Masters 1, very close to GM. Basically in the MMR, but not quite making it. But now I'm around Masters 2, and then my Protoss is probably, it's Masters 3, and maybe we push to Masters 2, and then my Zerg is definitely my worst, which is all the way at Masters 3, and it's kind of dragging down my random overall as well. Did you ever make it a GM? I did not. I got really, really close, and then I went away for a couple of weeks, didn't play, and then I went away for more weeks, and then I got sick, and I really didn't play, and by the time I got back, I wasn't nearly as good, and all motivation had been lost. I was also going through a really rough period at that same time, and it kind of all conjumbled together so that I really haven't wanted to make the push towards Grandmaster, but perhaps I will in the future. Why the name ZombieGrub? Well, zombies are cool as like a mythos or whatever, and grub is a cool, funny word, so when I was thinking of something to do for a new name for StarCraft, actually, my old name for everything else is not really usable, but I'm not gonna tell you what it is. So I thought about ZombieGrub, and I was like, that sounds like a cool word. It means humans, it means zombie food, so we're all technically zombie grub, and it was just kind of one of those like, whoa, man things. So I went with it. I didn't assume that people would think that it meant larva, but of course that's what a lot of people do think. It doesn't. It means zombie food. Where do you live? I don't know who actually answers that question. I suppose I could be as broad as I want it to be. I do live in the USA on the East Coast. That's about as focused as I want to get, to be honest. I'm not going to tell you the exact location. What are your cat's names? So this is Apollo, actually. He just got up on me. You can kind of see the end of his little stubby tail there. And then I also have Ziggy the 4th now. Oh, hello. And then when I was back at home, my parents also had a cat named Blazer and a cat named Nugget. Why do you have acne? So this isn't so much a question that I get directly, but a lot of trolls and a lot of even cautious, curious people try and kind of bring it up. The short answer is that often it's not acne, it's actually acne scars. When I was young, I had to go on Accutane because I had severe acne, the type of acne that you couldn't even put your head down on your arm without being painful. Hello, Apollo. So I went to Accutane for a long time, and that kind of cleared it up, but it's just the way that my skin is, so a lot of acne scars kind of reflect and make makeup hard to use and all that. But the other answer is just like, I'm human, and I have, like, you know, the hormones and stuff that create pimples. I don't know what to tell you. If you have perfect skin all the time, that's really, really great for you. Why'd you choose Terran? I initially chose Terran because it was just the race I always played when I was playing my brothers as well. I was Terran, one was Zerg, and another brother was Protoss. It kind of worked out that way, weirdly enough. Probably because the campaign always makes you play Terran first, so that's what I did when I was like 13 or whatever. And then obviously Winged Liberty was Terran based, so I chose Terran. I temporarily went to Zerg, and then I went back to Terran very shortly after that, so I've been Terran for basically 9 out of 10 years that StarCraft 2 has been around. And the answer to just why is basically because I always did, and also I thought that there was a lot more variety in the way they were playing back then. Is that still true? I don't know, but I still enjoy it the most. Don't you play Zerg? Well, right now I'm actually playing a lot of random, but I did play Zerg full-time for about a year and a half. Basically, right before the Brutal Infesta era took off, I stopped playing Zerg, so that was kind of a bad timing on my part to swap back to Terran. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I really was not Zerg for a very long time, and it's really frustrating when everyone thinks I'm still Zerg. Why don't you like being called by your real name? I think it's like introducing yourself as ZombieGrub in a regular, you know, social situation, and then someone goes and finds your real name and comes back at you and it's like, oh yeah, hey, real name, and you're like, that's not how I introduced myself. And they're like, oh, but it's your real name. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. I introduced myself to the world basically as ZombieGrub, and when you use my real name, I don't know, it just feels too personal and weird. Why'd you leave BaseTradeTV? There's an entire Team Liquid post by both me and Rifkin, as well as much speculation on Reddit, and you can just Google this basically and find it out, which I really wish people would do more so. But TLDR, I wanted to do my own stuff. I wanted to have my own stream. I wanted to make my own brand bigger and better, and I wanted to have more opportunities to work with other organizers because BaseTradeTV actually took up a ton of time. It was like a full-time casting gig, so I just became totally freelance and loved to still work with BaseTradeTV and Rifkin and anyone else. What's your favorite race to play? Terran. What's your favorite matchup to watch? Probably still TVZ, although sometimes it's TVP. It's basically never the mirror matchups, but those can be fun too. What's your favorite Final Fantasy? In general, I really like Final Fantasy, but my favorite Final Fantasy is 8, then 10, then 6, then 9, then 12, then 7, and that's about as far as I can go. What's your favorite game? In general, it's still going to be Final Fantasy VIII, just because Final Fantasy VIII it hit me at that very impactful time as a young teenager, I suppose, so it always has the biggest effect on my life. But obviously, I really like StarCraft, and that's the game I play the most, so I guess, second would be StarCraft. Do you play other games? Of course, I play other games. You have to be basically Rotterdam to not play any other games, and he's just a weird guy. But I really mostly play StarCraft. I now stream a second game whenever I do stream because I have a bunch of games that I want to play and just never seem to have the time to or the dedication to. Actually playing a couple hours can make a big difference as opposed to just testing it out for 1 hour. So, yeah, I play other games, but basically only on stream. If I'm not streaming video games, I'm usually not playing them, aside from a couple rare instances where I get hooked on something. Do you have a boyfriend? No, I do not. And the details of anyone's personal life is always a weird thing to ask if you don't actually personally know them. How do I improve at StarCraft? Well, improving at StarCraft is different for everyone, and the ways you want to improve are different for everyone, and your goals are different for everyone, and it's a really hard question to answer, but people kind of have a general question when they come in a chat, and they're like, what do I should do? I got better at StarCraft by looking up videos and then taking down build orders, which is why I do that build order tutorial series, because I thought that's how I got better, so I should be providing the same service to everyone else, and I just got 3 build orders and got really good at them. And that worked on my macro, and so I'm a big believer in getting build orders and perfecting your macro. Do you live in Korea? No, I do not live in Korea. I live in the USA. The longest I've lived in Korea was 3 months 2 or 3 years ago, and otherwise I've been there for a week to a month, depending on the year. To be fair, I've gone to Korea every year for like 6 years at this point, but I've never spent that long, so it's weird that people assume I live in Korea. Are you Canadian? No, I live in the USA. I don't know why people thought I was Canadian. It's been like 8 years of people kind of generally like actually knowing who I am, and I don't know how with all of those years and times I've been on desks and times I've talked about politics and where I've lived and made fun of Canadian things, I was always making fun of Rifkin, he'd make fun of, USA, and it'd be back and forth thing. I don't know how people got us confused. People think that he's from the USA, I'm from Canada. I guess that's where it started, but no, I'm not Canadian. What equipment do you use? Well, that is actually easily answered by looking down below on my Twitch panel. Not this YouTube, but the Twitch, because it's so much easier than just explaining to you right here, right now. That's also where you'll find other frequently asked questions that I'm going over in this video as well. Who's your favorite StarCraft 2 player? So overall, it's going to have to be Boxer. Despite any flaws he probably had, in terms of his overall impact on the scene, it's absolutely huge. In terms of his overall coolness factor, it still pretty much outweighs a lot of potentially shitty things may or may not have been involved in. Drama, whatever. He's still my favorite player, and even though I don't play anything like him, I'm actually very not micro-focused. I thought he was the funnest guy to watch and best guy to cheer for. In terms of right now, I usually just cheer for some of my old favorites. I mean, Jaedong's no longer in the scene. I was a big fan of him. I'll always cheer for Scarlet as well, but I guess right now I like cheering for the person who's dominating, so Cyril would be a favorite. Raynor in his playstyle is a favorite. Innovation is a favorite, even though sometimes he's not around. Zest is a favorite. Hero was as well. That is the ex-CJ Entis hero, who's now retired. Yeah, I think that just about covers it. What's your subscriber badge? I don't actually blame people for not knowing what it is, but it is the partially eaten brain that is my logo on this YouTube video introduction, actually. Have you thought about casting other games? Yes, of course, as we always, are concerned about not just StarCraft 2, but actually making a living off of StarCraft 2, which many of you are not in the same boat as that. You always got to think about the next thing, and I've thought about it a little, but actually, catching passion for other esports is quite difficult for me to do, and as someone who's always going to be more of an analytical role than a play-by-play, it's, I think, even more difficult to transition into other games. You also just have to be generally self-confident to say, I do this thing, I can also do that thing. And I'm just not generally self-confident. So I've thought about casting other games. Rocket League seems like it'd be a lot of fun. I can do play-by-play casting. I just always think my strengths will be in analysis. Tried Overwatch for a little while, but that was a whole crapshoot. And Warcraft seems like it would be fun. And if Broodwork counts as another game, that also is fun. Do you have a schedule? Yes, I have a schedule. You can look down below on my Twitch page once again and click on the thing that says schedule, and you actually get taken to a Google Calendar, which hopefully automatically redirects to your time zone, so it's always accurate. I try to keep it up to date as possible, including, previous day changes, same day changes, so it is the best place to find out where I am streaming, but in general, my schedule is Monday through Friday around the times of noon to even 10 p.m. depending on the day. Why don't you like backseat gaming? So I think in general, more so this question comes in the forms of well, why can't I tell you tips? Or, wow, I was just trying to help you. Why are you getting mad? No one ever really says, why don't you like backseat gaming? Because everyone knows backseat gaming is kind of a no-no. So to answer more so those questions, just in general, I don't know. I stream games because I enjoy playing them and finding things out about them. And I'm not almost ever looking to min-max games, where a lot of people kind of automatically assume that you are, and that just takes away the fun of it. We all have those, we've all liked games where we were like, oh my god, I can't believe I found out this thing. Either you found it out or you went somewhere and found it out, but the point is you were on your own little journey to discovery. And I feel like people who come into backseat game are taking away my journey, man. They're taking away my paddles. That's what Dustin would say in Stranger Things. I just want to go along this journey by myself and also talk to people about it in general, not being talked to about it, I suppose. What's the next event you're casting? So this one's actually a big one. I'm so surprised people still think that this will get an answer, but I guess enough people answer that it's still worth asking. But for me, in my situation, it's almost always a case of I don't know, or if I do know, but it's not public, I can't tell you anyways. So it's kind of almost useless to ask a lot of us casters what we're doing next. I know there's times where you just, you don't always pay attention to all the announcements, so it's very easy to miss when something is announced as far as casters goes, especially since in StarCraft they're usually announced quite late. But yeah, usually just either it's going to be on my calendar or publicly announced, otherwise I can't even tell you, or I just don't know. Why didn't you do X events? This one's kind of like a stab to the heart sometimes. Most of the time when you ask a StarCraft 2 commentator why you didn't do an event, it's because we weren't invited. Not many of us are in position to choose other gigs over StarCraft gigs, or just simply don't have other gigs to even choose, even pursue. So we love hanging out with our friends, we love casting StarCraft, and we like making money off of what we like to do. So the reason I'm not at X event is very rarely to do with anything personal. It's just that I wasn't invited, and it sucks to be reminded of that. And I know at least one or two people who have come in and asked that question intentionally do it to be dicks. I know that for a fact, and it's happened to some other my co-casters as well. But yeah, just use your noggin for that one. Just think about it for a second. I think you can come to the same conclusion very easily without having to ask the streamer. How do you prepare for casting? So it depends on the cast. Obviously, an online cast is going to be prepared for differently than an offline cast, or a long-running cast like Nation Wars will be prepared for differently than WCS Fall at Montreal. But in general, I actually made a video about this you can check out on this YouTube. And I highly advise you just go and check that out. It's going to be the best way to do it. But in general, just studying their previous matchups, their previous tournaments, and finding storylines to really drive the narratives is kind of the biggest things when you go into a broadcast. What are your future plans? So this one's also a very awkward question to ask anyone who is in streaming or casting, because we don't usually look very far into the future. Having a realistic 10-year goal is actually just, I think it's actually impossible. It's more likely now than perhaps it was 10 years ago, as esports continues to be more entrenched in just the normal day-to-day. But yeah, the future is basically, for me, and I know for a lot of my other peers in the same industry, it's just a lot, like, it's mostly the next 6 months, maybe the next year. You kind of have a general idea of what you want to do. But in terms of 2, 3, 4, 5, I mean, especially 5 years plus, I have no idea right now. I actually recently just did a demo recording for voice acting, so that's going to hopefully both supplement my income as well as potentially be something I transition into should I ever leave StarCraft, which I don't think I ever would, but we're talking about apocalyptic scenarios here. And otherwise, I would like to continue casting in general, because I just love the feel of talking about video games with friends and to an audience that I also kind of consider a friend. It's something that I find very easy to do, and it makes me really excited. I love going to live events, and my ideal schedule would be just like flying to event after event after event. In that way, I'm kind of get jealous of a lot of other bigger esports, but on the day-to-day, it's just the next stream. And as far as thinking broadly, it's obviously like you still think about it and you still try and make somewhat of a plan, but it's a lot more of just like it depends on how it works out, So it can be a little grim sometimes, but you can also see it as exciting. That's the positive way to spin it. All right, so that I think was 30 frequently asked questions that I get decently enough. If there's any more questions that you would like to know, even if they are frequently asked or not, then definitely post them down below, and I could perhaps make another video going into more detail about some of these things. But whenever someone asks me any of these questions, I will now just go ahead and point them to this video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you more so on this channel, as I do upload a lot of things, as you can see, builder tutorials, casts, all that good stuff, as well as on my Twitch stream, which I do stream Monday through Friday. Bye-bye, everyone.